GG.
That's my friend! And you're found you!
Hola. Today we're talking about items. Let's look in. I think it's gonna be a little bit of a shorter video, but that's alright, okay? Let's talk about items, okay? Items are a skill in League of Legends. No, it's kind of obvious. I don't know. Anyways, it has become more relevant, in my opinion, each season. Especially in the last 5 seasons. Let me take a sip real quick. Pretty good. And understanding which items interact in which way with which champion can easily win games at a certain level, Items are never perfected in a way because they change so many times. Even though there's like usually some cookie cutter build for some situations, items can win games, can win fights, It's the Zhonya's that's been bought and used properly. It's the boots even, for top lane can be incredibly impactful to have these. There's different items that are, items in general that are just super insanely important, And maybe that's obvious for you if you're listening and you're like, duh, they're important, but there's different levels to it, and maybe some people don't understand it fully, so I'm making a video about it, Because at a base level, what you want in League is to get experience and gold is useless. Fully useless until you spend it for items. First of all, it has to be the correct items. Second of all, you have to use the items correctly, So gold in general is just very far removed from being impactful in a sense, If you last hit a minion, you're not exactly getting rewarded with strength in a way unless you level up. So items are the stuff that you get after you reset, right? You reset 4 items, you reset after knowing you have an item spike that you can buy, etc. If you have an item advantage, we'll get to that later, What do items actually do? They make certain interactions between characters either legal or illegal. That is mostly based on items, If you are 4 items up on your opponent, supposing that you invested into the correct items, the likelihood of your interactions with the enemy turning out positively for your goal to kill the enemy nexus increases massively. That is the point, Having an advantage. I'm just saying 4 items because it makes the situation very clear, Out-damaging someone can only be achieved in one way, and that is damage per interacting with the enemy, You interact and you stop. That's usually how trades work, right? Even in side lane, sometimes you don't really fully all in, It's like you're kind of fishing for the information on how impactful your items actually are. Plus the possibility of just hitting more skill shots and the enemy doesn't hit them, you dodge them, right? So that's why items are not a guarantee thing. It's not like you have 5 items, so the enemy automatically always loses, right? They can still win if they hit every ability and you hit 0. So it's still like a skill-based element to it, but the likelihood, if you have 5 items more, if the enemy hits 20 abilities and you hit 1, you probably still damage them. Probably not, but you get the idea, right? Since every interaction between every character is different at every level and item breakpoint, there's not going to be much generalization here, But there are different interactions that are important to think about that relate to items. Hitting enemy without them hitting back, that's one of the things. So if it's 1 ability hit versus 2 ability hits, like in that case, items matter less. If it's the same item, 1 auto versus 2 autos, bot lane, same thing, top lane as well. And these kind of interactions reduce the effectiveness immensely, You are at a deficit, and you can further, extend the effectiveness if you're ahead. Like, if you're ahead in items and you hit 2 abilities versus them hitting 1, like, you're just gonna completely destroy them in most cases, you know? You can achieve out-damaging by having more damage items or surviving long enough to do more sustained damage. Also, you know, that's why AD carry items work a little bit differently. Even though they can burst if they are super far ahead, in general, they need like 3-4 autos, which do not cost any mana, right? That's sustained damage. They have infinite sustained damage, versus for mages, usually their cooldowns are longer, so they interact and they back off. That's why they have to be able to one-shot in certain situations, otherwise they would be useless. So they have to one-shot an AD carry before the AD carry can get 3 autos in a sense, you know? Caitlyn is different, for example. She can just one-shot with a passive, which is... I don't know if that's a good design still, I don't know, but either way, you know, the general idea is the point. If you get hit by 3 autos as a mage, you're supposed to die from an AD carry, you know? If the AD carry doesn't get 3 autos in while the mage gets his full combo, the AD carry is supposed to die. And this depends on items, of course, you know? If any of them is massively ahead in items, even if the XP is similar, then items will carry. That's why tanks are also kind of misunderstood in League, because tank items aren't creating tanks like in MMOs, you know? They just allow the champion that synergizes well with tank stats to do more damage, in a way. Which is very counterintuitive. You think about tanks, they should survive, but they actually don't. So, that's the whole point, you know? Is not to survive, because in League you're not going to be immortal. You're never going to be immortal. In most scenarios because of damage distribution, but the point is to live long enough in specific situations to out-damage and create pressure that way, which can mostly be achieved with correct itemizations. And that is the whole video for today already, so enjoy.
Have they forgotten us yet, little lamb?
All still know us, though they try to forget. Soon, we will remind them.